No, definitely. And that's a good point that you make, is now people ask, but how do you start at a low? Do I just run a kilometer and add a half of a kilometer? What do you need to do? So before we go to the answer to that, we have to bring in the other thing that you have to develop to become a runner. So one, you have to get your legs stronger to be able to produce enough force for a long enough period of time to be able to run, and also to be able to handle the impact of running on the joints and the muscles. The other half of it is you have to get fitter to be able to do that. Now, in this context, oversimplified definition of fitness is you need to condition the body to be able to produce energy for the muscles to do the task at the intensity, at the volume that you need to do. So, but it's not just about just any fitness that you need to develop. What you do want to do is you want to differentiate between what's the goal that you want to achieve, and then also choose the right way of developing that type of fitness. So to explain that, that's if you watch the Olympics and you watch the 400-meter final and the marathon final, and you have the two winners cross the line, both of them are pushing everything the last 100 meters, and they go over the line, and they both would tell you they're equally tired. They're dead. But the one ran less than a minute, the other one more than 2 hours. Then the question is, why the difference? And that's what you have to look at. For running, endurance running, you want to be able to develop long duration training, where if you want to do 100 meters, the intensity is the important variable. With running, it's volume. So we can get into how the difference between the energy systems maybe a bit later. But to develop volume, now we know, okay, so you need to spend a lot of time on your feet for the body to adapt to on being active for a longer period of time. Now, if you start running, now you, instead of trying to run 1 kilometer and then 2 days later do another kilometer and so forth, I usually tell people, do 5 kilometers. But what you are going to do is, to get the intensity lower but keep the volume, is walk for 4 minutes and then run for 1 minute and repeat that for 5Ks. Then keep the distance for 5 kilometers, and over a period of, and it can be as long as 10, 12 weeks. It's a long process. The body adapts slowly. You run a little bit more and eventually walk a little bit less. Because let's use the knee, for example. The impact forces on the knee when you run, let's say 5-6 times body weight. For walking, I'm talking under correction here, but I think it's around 2.4 at best. So it's a lot less. And now you're spending a lot of time on your legs with a little bit of running, getting that strength adaptation with some recovery in between, but you're keeping your heart rate and your cardiovascular system at a level where it needs to adapt. And but at a low intensity. And that's the key to start to run is, I usually say 5K distance is good. Some people, it's more comfortable on 3Ks. There's a lot of variation from individual to individual. But let's say, for the argument's sake, you do 5Ks, a lot of walking, a little bit of running, and each week you switch it over until you can run 5Ks. That's step one. That's usually the first goal. If you can get to there, then the body is at a place to start building to whatever your goal is, if it's a 10 or a 21K. But yeah, so that's, I think, a good way to start. The key, though, is to be patient and do it slowly. Like I said, to go from no running to running through 5Ks without the need to walk on a flat surface, you need to, that can be anything from, it's around about 10 weeks. I've got like a very generic 10K program a 10-week program that I give to beginners and to injured runners to use them to reintroduce the load to them. That's a 10-week program. Some people, it's quicker. Other people take longer. Very individualized. So you have to, it's always
suppose it's also your background of how much exercise you've done, or if you're doing some other exercises, will all determine how quickly you can up that time frame.